Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. Today, we re-delving into one of the most profound and challenging stories in the Bivala narrative that tests the very limits of faith and obedience. It's the story of a father, a son, and an unbelievable request. This is the story of Abraham and Isaac. Imagine a man named Abraham. He's lived a long, full life, a patriarch revered by his people. God has promised him that he will be the father of a great nation, with descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. But for decades, he and his wife, Sarah, remained childless. Then, in their old age, a miracle happens. A son is born. They name him Isaac, which means he laughs. A fitting name for the joy he brought into their lives. Isaac wasn't just a son. He was the fulfillment of a lifelong promise, a beacon of hope for the future. Abraham's love for Isaac was immeasurable. Every day was a gift, watching this precious boy grow. He was the apple of his father's eye, the heir to the covenant God had made with Abraham. Their bond was unbreakable, forged in love and divine promise. But it was this very bond that would be put to the ultimate test. One day, God spoke to Abraham. The words that came were not of comfort or further blessing, but a command that would shatter any father's heart. Take your son, God said, your only son, whom you love, Isaac, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you. Can you even begin to fathom the weight of those words? The son he had waited a century for, the embodiment of God's promise, was now to be taken away by his own hand. The command seemed to contradict everything God had promised. How could Abraham be the father of nations if his only heir was gone? This wasn't just a test. It was a trial that seemed to shake the very foundations of logic and love. Every fiber of Abraham's being must have screamed in protest. The silence in his heart must have been deafening. Yet, the scriptures tell us something extraordinary. Early the next morning, Abraham got up. He didn't argue, he didn't question, he didn't delay. He saddled his donkey, took two of his servants and his son Isaac, cut the wood for the offering, and set out for the place God had told him about. This began a solemn 3-day journey. Imagine the silence, thick with unspoken thoughts, and a father's profound sorrow. For 3 days, Abraham walked alongside the son he was commanded to sacrifice. Each step must have been an agony. He would look at Isaac, this vibrant young boy, full of life and innocence, and know what awaited them at their destination. The weight on his shoulders was more than just the wood for the pyre. It was the weight of a terrible, divine secret. Isaac, in his youthful innocence, noticed something was amiss. He saw the fire and the wood, but he didn't see the customary lamb for the sacrifice. He turned to his father, his voice clear and trusting. "Father, yes, my son," Abraham replied, his own voice likely strained with emotion. "The fire and wood are here," Isaac said. "But where is the lamb for the burnt offering?" How does a father answer such a question? What words can you possibly find? Abraham, his heart surely breaking, looked at his beloved son and said with a faith that defies understanding, "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son." And the two of them continued on together. This statement wasn't a lie. It was a profound declaration of faith in the face of the impossible. Abraham didn't know how God would provide, but he trusted that he would. On the 3rd day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He told his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship, and then we will come back to you." Notice his words, "We will come back." Even in this darkest hour, Abraham held onto a sliver of hope, a belief that somehow, both he and Isaac would return. They reached the designated mountain in Moriah, step by agonizing step. Abraham followed God's instruction. He built an altar of stones. He arranged the wood upon it. Then came the moment that defies all human instinct. He bound his son, Isaac, and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. The boy who was his world, his future, his joy, was now bound and helpless before him. Abram reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. The air was still. Heaven itself must have held its breath. The knife was raised, glinting in the sun, poised to descend. This was the pinnacle of the test, the absolute surrender of his most precious gift back to the giver. But just as the blade was about to fall, a voice thundered from the heavens. "Abraham, Abraham?" "Here I am," he replied, his hand frozen in midair. The angel of the Lord called out, "Do not lay a hand on the boy. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son." In that moment, the tension broke. Relief, overwhelming and absolute, must have washed over Abram. He unbound his son, holding him close, tears of anguish turning into tears of profound gratitude. His faith had been tested to its absolute breaking point, and he had been found obedient. As Abraham lifted his eyes, he saw it. There, in a nearby thicket, was a ram, its magnificent horns caught in the branches. It was the provision, the lamb that God himself would provide. Abraham took the ram and sacrificed it as a burnt offering in place of his son. The promise he had declared to Isaac had come true in a way he could never have imagined. In honor of this miracle, Abraham named that place Yahweh Yireh, which means the Lord will provide. And to this day, it is said, "On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided." This wasn't just a name. It was a permanent memorial to God's faithfulness. It was a testament that even when we can't see the way forward, God is already at the destination, having prepared what we need. Because of Abraham's unwavering obedience, the angel of the Lord called out a second time, reaffirming God's covenant with even greater intensity. "I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and have not withheld your son, your only son, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. And through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me." This story is challenging, but its lessons are timeless. It teaches us about the nature of true faith. It's not about understanding every detail of God's plan. It's about trusting the character of God, even when his commands seem incomprehensible. It's about being willing to surrender what is most precious to us, believing that God is good and his purposes are perfect. It also reveals the heart of a faithful God. He is not a deity who delights in pain, but one who tests the heart to strengthen and purify it. And crucially, he is a God who provides at the moment of greatest need. When all hope seems lost, he steps in. The story of Abraham and Isaac is a powerful foreshadowing, a glimpse into an even greater sacrifice to come, where God would provide his own son as the ultimate lamb to take away the sins of the world. Thank you for joining us on this journey into one of Scripture's most powerful narratives. It reminds us that faith is an active trust, even in the darkest of valleys, and that our God is always faithful to provide. If you found this story meaningful and want to explore more lessons of faith from the Bible, please give this video a thumbs up. And do you forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next video. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this story in the comments below. Until next time, walk in fight.